Hey, what's up guys? I am here at my church, my home, Fuente de Agua Viva. I know many of you guys have been asking, Mike, how do you connect your GoPro? How do you connect your iPhone in the studio, live, at home, wherever I'm at? You know, when I'm recording with the GoPro, I have a certain way that I do things. So that's what I want to show you today. Why don't you follow me up here and I'll show you what I'm using. So yeah, it's a little messy, but this is my bass rig here at church. Obviously I've got my pedal set up. I've got the Looptimus, which controls the iPad for the stems. But what we are talking about today, here at the church, I use the Aviom A16. So obviously the output of the Aviom is a single stereo output. So typically, this cable, which is the headphone extension, will come out. All right. Then what you're going to do is, you see I've got these two connected. I jumped ahead of myself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get these cables, and then if you see here, this end right here is going to go into the connection. Okay. Out of the Aviom, out. Follow the cable. This little unit right here, I know some of you are asking, Mike, what is that? This is a DBX DI4. What is this? It's a 4-channel, basically DI box, okay? So when I go out, there are a couple of things you need to remember and make sure that you do. If you crank this up, if you like to use it super hot, you're gonna saturate the sound. It's gonna be distorted. So I usually run it, even with or without this setup, I usually run it about there. But even that volume is still too loud. So the cool thing with this unit is that you can turn up or turn down. So I typically always go about 9 o'clock, maybe a little less, depends on how hot I'm running the Aviom. But we said out of the Aviom into the DI4, okay? So basically, this becomes the new hub. All of my mix is coming out into this. How do you listen? Because you gave up your headphone extension jack, right? Well, now you take this headphone extension and you see this. Look at this. That says phone, okay? So headphones, you plug your headphone extension. And the cool thing is that you've got a volume. So because we turned it down, maybe normally, like I said, you wouldn't have that volume. You wouldn't have this one super hot, right? You would maybe be right there. So you're thinking, oh, this one needs to be the same. But because we turn the input down, it's softer. The cool thing about this unit is that I can turn it up. And now I've got volume control and I can go as hot as I want. I'm gonna be honest, I typically run my master volume about 3 o'clock. Normal settings, it would be really loud. But because I turned down the input, I need to crank up the output for my headphones. All right, so that's it. I go out of the Aviom into the DI4. Now, there's another part of the equation. How do I get the sound from this into my GoPro? Simple. I've already got it connected. But you see it's RCA output. I went to Amazon. I bought a 25-foot RCA to 3.5 millimeter connector, which is like a 1/8 inch connector. 25 foot goes out. You see it's running. You see that cable runs all the way. Here at church, this is typically where I put my GoPro. You see I've got it set up already. So I've got two things going on here. I've got that 25-foot cable running from the DI4, okay, all the way over here. But you also see that I've got a power cord. So where do those two ends connect? This is the GoPro adapter. Okay, the new GoPro has the USB-C. So check this out on the back. This is where I connect the 1/8 inch, the 3.5 millimeter audio out. This is going in. And I also connect the power. Everywhere I go, I get an extension and I connect this power and I connect the audio to the adapter. Okay, I'm gonna put it back. That's it. So camera is on. We've got power, so the battery never dies out. We've got audio, and this is pretty much what my shot looks like. So I like to get myself, the entire band. I've got all the vocalists up front. And what I do is when we're in rehearsal, when we're live, before we actually start, I like to test. So I will open up the GoPro app and I push record. And then once we're done, I stop, I open up the app, and then I watch the video. Is it distorting? If it's distorting, you have two options. You can turn the master down, or you can turn the input down a little more. I honestly would always prefer it to be softer than to be hotter, because I can always gain in post, which is always what I do. I go into LumaFusion, I think it's called LumaTouch now, and I crank up the volume. So I get a nice solid volume, but it's not loud, it's not peaking, it's just a good volume. And then in post, I bring it back up, and that's it. That's basically how I do it. Now, I know some of you might not have Avion. Maybe you have the P16. You have two options. P16 is going to have two outs, line out. You could do quarter to quarter out into this. Honestly, if I have a P16, I am just going to disconnect this one, disconnect it, the headphone, use the same exact cable out, left and right in. I don't even mess with the line out. And I always monitor through here. Maybe you're saying, well, if you use line out, you don't have to come out of here. True, but if I go line out, I want to monitor this, because if it's distorting when I'm listening to this, then it's distorting for sure on the camera. If I'm just listening to this and I'm not paying attention to what this sounds like, I have no idea if it's going to sound good or if it's going to sound bad. So I always want to monitor through the last piece of gear, which is the DI4. Now let's say you don't have an Avion, let's say you don't have a P16, but they set you up with the wireless pack. Wireless pack, you're going, Mike, how do I get the mix out of that into this? What I would do, I don't have a wireless pack with me, but what I would do, I would get my wireless pack, I'd put it right here, and then I have a cable that is not quarter stereo, it's 1/8 inch or 3.5 millimeter stereo to 2/4 mono. Okay, so that cable would connect into the pack. Pack sits right here, volume, kind of the same rule of thumb. I find a good sweet spot. That lives here, out, in. I'm not wireless, I'm always using this connection. That's pretty much it. If you look at my bag, I've got a lot of cables, and I have these cables because I want to be prepared. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what setup I'm going to get. So this is my traveling bag. Got my pedal board. This is my traveling pedal board. Okay. Cali 76, Exotic RC, Exotic BB, into the Boss OC2, into my tuner. That's the last piece. This goes into the Noble to the house. Now look at all this. I've got a blue turn when I use charts. I hook that up to the iPad, switch over. I've got the roll and go mixer. I've got headphone extensions. I've got other cables. I've got this cable here that if I wanted more than 25 feet, I could connect the 25-foot end, 1/8 inch, 3.5 millimeter, into this. And I think this is like a 10-foot extender. And then that would go into the GoPro. And I've just extended my 25 by another 10 feet. So I've got a lot of cables. I've kind of been building up just for whatever I might need. You just never know. When you're on the road, I like to be prepared. I like to have my stuff. That way I'm not worried about what they might or might not have. Hopefully, guys, this helps you. I know a lot of you guys have been wondering what I'm using. So that's what I wanted to do. I appreciate you taking the time to check out my setup. This is, again, my church setup. But I hope that this gets you going and that you can buy some of this equipment. I'm not endorsing it. I'm not endorsed by them. This is just what I use. I'm always like this. I would never endorse something that I don't personally use myself. So I've had great luck with the DI4. I hope it works for you. And I can't wait to check out your videos of the live services and concerts that you're having. If you're ever in town, Pasadena, Texas, look us up, Fuente de Agua Viva. Wednesdays and Sundays. Wednesdays at 7, Sundays at 10 a.m. God bless you guys. Hope this helps. See you next time. Bye-bye.